Thanks so much for joining us today as we look back at 2024. I'm Dan Spieler. We saw it all this past year. At the state and local level, accusations of harassment that dominated the headlines. At the state and national levels, a busy and historic election year. And now we're getting ready for a new year with big transitions at the State House and the White House. Here in Indiana, the big race this year was the race for governor, with a Republican primary featuring 6 different candidates. We had the 4 leading candidates right here in our studio back in March for a live 1-hour debate.
I will stick my neck out. I've got a proven record in the Senate for effectiveness. Try something where you know it's going to get done by the record, not by what they say they're going to do.
We will never cast aside our most vulnerable Hoosiers, the unborn, the elderly, the disabled, those struggling with mental illness and addiction, because they are our families, our friends, and our neighbors. The Indiana you and I will build will never compromise in protecting faith, family, and freedom.
We will restore our small towns and main streets, and we will make sure that we support law enforcement to keep you safe. So tonight, I'm asking you to have a bold vision for the people of Indiana, so that our kids and grandkids can live in stronger communities.
Our state is a great state, but we've got to go play to win. We've got to lift people up by growing the economy so that we can invest in the things that need to be invested in, and to shrink government by a growing economy. I'm passionate about we've got to play to win in Indiana.
Well, in the end, it was Mike Braun who came out victorious in that crowded 6-way primary, and our Hannah Adamson was there as he celebrated back in May.
With a commanding double-digit lead, Senator Mike Braun solidified his spot as the state's Republican nominee for governor Tuesday.
I intend to be the most entrepreneurial governor our state has ever had. I can guarantee you I'm going to be the most accessible governor the state has ever had.
Braun comparing his primary win to that of his Senate win in 2018, telling his supporters the country has fallen from that of the Founding Fathers' original vision.
We're going to take this state to a place we've never seen before.
Second place finisher Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch thanking her supporters at her Election Day watch party, calling on them to rally behind Senator Braun.
As a party, we need to unite behind him to ensure that we keep Indiana on the road to victory in November.
And that was Hannah Adamson reporting on primary night. Now, the very next day, Braun announced his preferred choice for a running mate, State Rep Julie McGuire, who joined Braun here in our studio for an exclusive interview.
I'm excited. I'm humbled and honored to be chosen by this great team. I'm excited to be a partner with Mike Braun.
Coming from a conservative, entrepreneurial approach, and Julie fit that better than many folks that were interested in it, many individuals that were recommended by key supporters of mine. And I think Julie's going to do a great job at the traditional things a lieutenant governor would do.
But in the end, there was nothing all that traditional about this process. Instead of Julie McGuire, it was Micah Beckwith who ended up running for LG, winning the vote of convention delegates at the GOP state convention, which meant that he instead would become Mike Braun's running mate this year.
Micah Beckwith. We gave them a choice, and they said they don't need to always listen to the elite.
To me, this is no different than when you have a little bump in the road. There's no doubt about this. I'm in charge, and Micah is going to be someone that works with me. And if he doesn't, I think that means that it will probably not be as fruitful in terms of what we can get done.
It would turn out to be an interesting dynamic all throughout the race. Meantime, that same month in the race for president, a consequential debate between the sitting and former president, perhaps one of the most consequential in the history of presidential debates, and one that would ultimately change the race altogether.
The total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
It was certainly a debate that quickly put President Biden and his party in a difficult place, with growing calls from Democrats to make a change at the top of the ticket. But then right before the Republican convention, another historic and tragic moment as shots rang out at a Trump rally in Pennsylvania, grazing the former president's ear and killing one of his supporters. There was also at least one prominent Hoosier there when all of this happened in Pennsylvania that day, Kip Tom, a former agricultural ambassador to the United Nations. And I spoke with him that weekend.
He went down right away. Secret Service were up there with him. Obviously, then more guards came in, obviously, to protect him. But I still believe something more broadly. I don't know if they were what had happened, that this person could even get within range of anyone to do what was the heinous event that occurred yesterday.
Days later, a bandaged President Trump appeared on stage at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee.
I proudly accept your nomination for president. Just a few short days ago, my journey with you nearly ended.
The former president's speech there on the final night of the convention in Milwaukee. And not long after the Republican convention, we finally saw that change at the top of the ticket for Democrats. Now it was Vice President Kamala Harris up against Donald Trump. And just days after President Biden's decision, she came here to Indiana to speak at an event in downtown Indy. Thousands of sorority members cheered as Vice President Harris took the stage at the Zeta Phi Beta's Grand Boulé, where the VP began her remarks by discussing President Joe Biden's historic decision to step aside.
Tonight, our president will address the nation about his decision to step down as a candidate. We are all deeply, deeply grateful for his service to our nation.
As Vice President Harris hits the campaign trail in her new campaign for president, her remarks here in Indiana were part of her official capacity as vice president. But she did touch on many of the themes she'll be putting front and center in this race for president in 2024.
We share a vision for the future of our nation, a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead.
And in this election year, Vice President Harris also had a lot to say about her opponents.
In this moment, I believe we face a choice between two different visions for our nation. These extremists want to take us back, but we are not going back.
Specifically, the VP calling for abortion rights to be restored. She promised to work toward that goal as president.
Well, let me tell you something. When I am president of the United States, and when Congress passes a law to restore those freedoms, I will sign it into law. So let us continue to fight with optimism, with faith, and with hope, because when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
And it wasn't long until Harris was officially the Democratic nominee, giving her acceptance speech at the DNC in Chicago.
I promise to be a president for all Americans. You can always trust me to put country above party and self.
And then in September, the first and only debate between the vice president and the former president.
We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before.
My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses.
This is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years.
The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
We have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums.
What we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
There was talk of potentially having another debate, but it never ended up materializing. Meantime, in October, we held two more debates right here in our studio, including another debate in the race for governor between Republican Mike Braun and his Democratic opponent Jennifer McCormick, a debate that saw some heated exchanges about Braun's running mates and some of the comments he made on the campaign trail.
If you
have
want
not
to take
apologized,
on my
sir.
character,
Jezebel
just
spirit,
ask
sir.
anyone that knows me.
Just one of the heated moments there from our live debate with the candidates for governor, the first of 3 debates in this race. We also held a debate in the race for attorney general, which also turned contentious at times.
Immigration makes us strong, but it's also something, there's something that you didn't do. There's something that you didn't do as Attorney General. When you were may I finish, Dan? Dan, may I finish? I know for a fact, I thought it was 30 seconds. I know, but you've been interrupting, Todd.
All right, Destiny Wells and Todd Rokita there in that debate. Meantime, another statewide race in the race for U.S. Senate. We sat down with those candidates as well.
How do you persuade people in Washington, D.C. to work together?
Well, I mean, America is divided.
And I think at the end of the day, we have to get back to the first principles that make this country great.
How do you persuade those in Washington, D.C. to work together?
You know, I think that there has been a concerted effort to keep that division there. We on the ground in Indiana, we can bridge those gaps here in Indiana.
And in the end, big wins for all of the Republican candidates in Indiana. Banks won the Senate race by 20 points. Todd Rokita also ended up getting 59% of the vote in the AG's race. The governor's race slightly closer, with the Libertarian candidate pulling 5% of the vote. Braun beat McCormick 54-41 to be elected Indiana's next governor.
We're going to take Indiana to places we've never seen before. Imagine what you can do when you set the agenda, you get along with a legislature that believes in freedom and opportunity, faith, family, and community.
All right, coming up next, we're going to bring in our panel. They'll be here to talk about the year in politics, looking back when we return.